Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wherever you're joining me on this Facebook Live conversation, it's great to have you along. I'm in my office today, and you can see behind me, although it's not very clear, it used to be my old logo, and my very good friend Beverly McClelland, who's a wonderful artist, actually painted this. So just so you can see that I was going to talk to you from outside. Hi, Naomi. Very good to have you along this morning. Well, actually, now it's this afternoon. Hi, Lorraine. Good to see you. Glad to have your company today, and hope you're doing well. I know you've had a bit of a rough time lately, Lorraine. So I want to talk to you this Mindful Monday about saying no. Thank you. Oh, I love seeing the hearts and thumbs up. At least I know I'm not sitting here talking to myself. I had hoped to talk to you from outside today because the sun was shining earlier, but now it's absolutely pouring out of the heavens. So what I want to talk to you about today is really self-esteem under that heading. It's something that I've had a lot of private messages about. Hey, thank you very much for that. Love to see those thumbs up. I'm a bit of a sucker for the old attention. Hey Emma, glad to have you along. And Emma, thank you very much for your private message. I'm glad that these videos are helping you and that things in your life are turning around. So well done. We're talking, Andrew Miller, hi, good to see you too. We're talking in Lifeology and new principles of mind, thought and consciousness. So those are the three things in any kind of personal development work, that there's only the three things you can work with, and that's your mind, your thinking and your consciousness. So I wanted to start today by, I've got a little quiz here for you. So forgive me, I have to read the questions out. This is a self-esteem quiz. And whenever I'm doing workshops, this would be something that I would sometimes start a workshop with. And so I'm going to ask you a question. You may not have a pen and paper there. The answer is yes or no. It's not rocket science. So there's no right or wrong. It's just what it's like for you right now. Okay. So is your self-esteem based on what others think of you? Just answer yes or no to that. And then think about, do you do things to make other people happy, even if it makes you feel bad? Yes or no? Do you have a hard time being happy for others when they succeed? Yes or no? Do you call yourself names like stupid or idiot when you make mistakes, or sometimes even when you don't? And the fifth question, final question is, do you have a hard time taking risks? Are you afraid to take a risk? So just think about yes or no. And depending on how many yeses you had, if you've answered in fact yes to any of these questions, hey Mohammed, good to have you along. Thank you for your kind birthday wishes over the weekend. If you've answered yes to any of these, your self-concept and self-esteem is somewhat distorted. So thank you very much for the thumbs up. Loving that. Love to know that you're listening. Hey, thank you. Ooh, it's so exciting when people come on here. I know that sounds really ridiculous, but it's really, sometimes it's hard to imagine that you're actually able to converse with people in this way. So it's great, and it means that I can obviously touch the hearts and minds of many more people than I can just on a one-to-one basis. So if your self-esteem or your self-image is somewhat distorted when we finish that little questionnaire, then it's to think about what and why are you doing what you're doing. A lot of people will say to me that they can't say no. So that's what I want to talk to you about today, is about saying no. On this Mindful Monday, who could you practice saying no to? And why? Why do you need to say no? Well, because in terms of your self-esteem and in terms of your self-respect, sometimes, and I use the label people pleasers. You're okay, Mohammed. That's okay. You can join and leave whenever you want. Just thank you for taking the time to listen. So we're talking about, is your no really a no? In terms of your self-respect and self-esteem, are you prolific at saying no? Now, there's a lot of people that you might have to say no to, and here's a golden nugget. The people closest to you are perhaps the people that you need to say no to more often. Now, that could be family members, work colleagues, but sometimes the people who are closest to you are the ones who need to be managed a little more tightly. Now, here's the thing. when you're saying yes all the time, so let's call it people pleasing. So if you've answered that little quiz that we did there at the beginning of the conversation, then you're living an inauthentic life. So if you feel like there's a bit of a grate with you at the moment, or things are sort of grating with you, it's basically because you're not being true to yourself. Now, a lot of what I do and what I talk about, people say it's selfish. I actually like to think that when you're taking care of yourself, it's self-care, it's not selfish. So thinking about saying no, who do you need to say no to? Now, you can put a comment. I can read your comments if you want to give me a comment. Who and you know, if it is a family member, I can't say that this is private, but if you want to, when we're finished, you can send me a private message. But here's the thing, when you are saying yes all the time, guess what? You're saying no to yourself and what you want to do and what needs you need to meet for yourself. Now that can be quite a tricky thing to take on board, and if you're coming to this in terms of mind, thought and consciousness for the first time, or this is new to you, you might think that sounds bonkers, but actually it isn't. If you think about your thinking about yourself, so think about the thoughts that you have about yourself. Are you calling yourself stupid? Are you calling yourself an idiot? What is your self-talk? Talk about yourself. And it's that little voice that's inside here, inside your ears. And an interesting concept for you to try on, the whinging little voice that's in your head, the whiny voice that, you know, if you're trying to lose weight is saying, oh, go on, sure, God love you. Didn't you have an awful day? Have a wee biscuit, sure, have 6. And that whining voice is the voice that can actually bring you down and pull down your confidence. But remember, hold on to the thought that it's all thinking. So it's what you're thinking about yourself, what you're saying to yourself about yourself. Now, think about that for a wee minute. Just think about, you know, how many conversations are you running in your mind right now? You possibly thinking about, oh, what are you going to make for the dinner? Oh, what are we going to do with the kids? Or off school? It's pouring with rain, blah, 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 blah. There's probably half a dozen conversations going on at once. So think about quietening your mind, quietening your thinking. And because you weren't born with all of this mad craziness of thinking going on, you just were happy. End of. So to think about, in terms of your thinking about yourself, why are you not saying no more frequently? Maybe, I know a lot of people just physically can't say no. Think about then a phrase that maybe is a bit more comfortable for you to say, not right now, I'm sorry, I'm busy. But is your no a no? Or is it really a yes? And that's what I want you to think about. Is your no really a no? Or is your no a yes? So think about that. Is your no really a no? When you say no, do you mean no? And in some instances, in terms of, depends on the people you're dealing with, you may have to manage them like toddlers or training a puppy. No. No. And if you have to say no more than 3 times to someone, then they're just rude, in my opinion. And that's just the crux of the matter. If someone comes back at you for a 3rd time when you've already said no, then that's your sign that that's someone that you might need to manage out of your life, because they're just sucking the life out of you, quite literally. So that's what I wanted to talk to you today on Mindful Monday. Is your no really a no? And in terms of the number of people that you're saying yes to, you're saying no to something for yourself. And it really is that simple. If you're saying yes, yes, yes all the time to other people, or you feel like you're just run ragged with everybody that's in your life, then your self-esteem is at risk. And if you want to have more of the good feelings, then in terms of self-talk, you go and listen to, and we talked about on Thursday, we talked about the motivation. Think about the voices that's in your head. Now, I know you're not schizophrenic, you're not mad. Everybody has voices going on inside their mind, and that is the whiny voices pulling you down. But here, think about a time when you were motivated, or think about a time where you were really on your game. And think about, where did the self-talk come from in that instance? Might be your right ear, might be your left ear, but if you think about it, and a lot of people struggle with this. So again, if you are thinking that I'm absolutely bonkers, that's okay. I'm okay with that. But think about it when you go off this conversation. Think about the voice that has you motivated and empowered in your head. and think about the voice that pulls you down in your head, because that's where it's all happening. It's all happening in your mind, and it's all to do with the thinking that's going on in there. And also the level of consciousness. I mean, if you're not that bothered in terms of your thinking, because there's times when you're not really bothered, and there's other times when your thinking really does bother you. So to think about what has the charge on you. So for your exercise today, I want you to go away now and think about, where is your whiny voice and where is your empowered voice? Think about that in your mind's eye, as some people talk about. Think about it, and think about when you can say no, it's coming from the empowered side. So practice, if you want to go and stand in front of the mirror, whatever, but just practice hearing no. Practice hearing, I don't want to do this. And that's okay, because at the end of the day, remember, when you're saying no to someone, you're saying yes to something for yourself. How does that feel? Saying no to someone means yes to you. Taking care of self is self-care, and it's definitely not selfish. So thank you for taking the time to join me on this Mindful Monday. And remember, you're just one thought away from happiness, and it's all going on right in here. So until we get together again on Thursday, thank you very much for the appreciation. Hope it's helped. And if anybody wants to send me a private message or whatever in terms of your progress, I know that Emma, you've been in touch quite a bit, and I know that your life has changed, and that's very humbling for me. It's not by me, it's through me that the changes occur. And please, consider that you're the one doing the work. If anything's changing in your life as a result of these videos, it's because you're taking the action. And that's the most important thing, is that if you take action, then implementation is key. And as every action has a consequence, so does every inaction. So think about that, and think about yourself for today. Thank you. See you on Thursday. Bye.